Mantis. A team that had a knockout performance at SI is only the way I can describe it. Knocked themselves out of the group stage, but plus 29 on the entry. They showed they've got a lot to give, and it has been a rebuild of 6 months for them. The big worry for me is you're coming up against the previous major winners, Tim. That's a very tough team to have your first rebuild game against.
And this is the problem. I know that Team One are coming into this tournament carrying a lot of confidence. As you know, it's not just about the fact that they won in Mexico. This Team One side, let's not forget, they're very new. They came together in January. This is a team that works and works and works. The progress and the success that they have seen already so far this year is to be commended, and they are confident that they can continue here because they have continued putting in the rich time. It is the only way this team knows theirs. It is the only thing they know to do is work hard, and Sandbox, they're going to have to work hard today if they want anything out of this one.
I think maybe 6 months ago, you'd have looked at a team banning Maverick on this map and said, are they trolling? Like, what are they doing? But let's not forget, VIP Wall is now, well, not VIP Wall, before it was VIP Window, is now known as VIP Wall, and teams will use that room to defend a lot in towards Penthouse and Theatre, or to lock down key parts of the map. That being banned away suggests you might see some Kaid coming out here. The Thatcher's banned away, the Kaid is not, the Maverick's been taken away. Everything is pointing towards some wall denial in this game. Valkyrie, no massive surprise, and Mirror on a couple of these sites can make them an absolute haven for the defenders. We'll see how things kick off with Hookah and Billy as the first site we're heading into. It's Sandbox starting on the defense, Team One choosing to start on the attack. And I can't believe I'm able to finally say it, Ace. Round number 1 of the 6 Sweden Major is about to get underway.
Here we go. We're about to load in to that first site. Team One coming out on the attack. Sandbox, they're going to have to look sharp on the defense here. We know that the attackers have a little bit of joy on coastline, normally speaking, and I don't think that's going to be any different here today. Sandbox, I think they're going to be very happy if they can tie up this first half 3-3, if I'm honest. If I'm trying to look at what the expectations are going to be over the next
there he is
to kick off.
It's the boy, Medics, it's the boys, it's the dream team back together. Love to see it. And
I mean, we could already be heading for overtime, Des. We've got a bit of a record in EUL between me and you casting, Medics on the observing. We can't figure out who's causing it.
You gave him fair warning. You said, just so you're aware, Medics, it's us two.
And it's us three. For some reason, those overtimes seem to drop. And I honestly think that we probably are going to be in for a close game here. I'm not getting carried away just yet, talking about it going the distance, but I think this is going to be closer than a lot of people might think. We watch Sandbox regularly.
Yeah.
They've had a roller coaster of a year, but they are certainly back on a peak after stage 3.
Absolutely. And I spoke about the Kaid a little bit in the operator ban phase. You are indeed seeing it coming out and being used in towards the VIP wall. Again, very, very good place to try and slow down the usual typical entry spots for attackers on this map, which often will be towards Penthouse and Theatre, getting the bathroom hatch, stepping your way in. But the pressure is coming in early on from Team One. Shyle lucky to be alive here on about 20 HP or so. Envy looking to contest his way back inside of Sunrise, where the push started to come in from. It's Alamau leading the charge. Brazilian Pengu, as we've called him at point saves. Again, one of the only 2 players in the whole world to get more than 100 kills in all 3 stages this year, and I'm pretty sure it will surprise no one that Shaiko is the only other player to join him in that accolade.
That's it, and you can't really understate just the level of consistency that it takes to be doing that. You know, there's other players that have got over 100 kills in a stage, absolutely, but there is only 2 of them that have managed it in all 3 stages, and Alamai, we know he's going to bring the thunder in this one, but bringing the thunder immediately is Neskin there, just raining explosives from above onto Nova, and that's going to be our first kill of the 6th Sweden Major here on the A-Stream, Des, and it's Nova that goes down, advantage Team One, and we're not even at the halfway mark yet.
You can see Team One starting to set themselves up as well out towards this hookah balcony. The members of Sandbox now paying a little more passively, but the angle being held. Shyle, no idea that was going to come in from KDS, finds himself down, but not out just yet. May find himself a chance to get rezzed up. Harper finds one back in for his team. The 4 versus 4 ensues, but Shyle still temporarily down. The E1D rings through. Static into a second in the round. It's a good bounce back for the side of Sandbox. What can Team One do from here?
Sandbox fighting back well there to get themselves into it. Effectively 3 versus 3 here, but as the man goes in, Levy's got the watch. Envy Taylor shut down as he tried to pick up Shio from the cool vibe stairs, just baited beautifully from Team One there. That gives them the advantage once again, leaving us effectively 3 versus 2 now. They've got an age of time left as well. There's 45 seconds left to go with only 2 defenders realistically to deal with here. There is every opportunity to get in, and Shio, his light is going darker and darker, Des, as he slips away. There he goes. The kill rings up for KDS. There's a potential to get a diffuser down here for Team One.
That's exactly what they're going for as well. Great read from them to say they know that we're holding in Sunrise. Let's move down south, and look, they have no idea what's going on. C4 comes out, doesn't connect. Alamau hits the deck. 2 versus 2 in the post plant. There's 40 seconds remain on the clock. Levy finds one. It's a 1 versus 2 coming in for Harper, and it's a big ask for any player coming up against the previous major champions. But I say that, finds himself a triple. It's a 1 versus 1. Levy, Harper, who's going to be the one that nets their team round number 1 here at the Sweden Major. He's holding tight, sees the bomb, but he was sprinting. Levy finds the kill. Team One open things up in round 1.
Beautiful play from both teams. It was a close one. You know, they were Sandbox really able to fight back in the mid-round there, and they made a real game of it, but ultimately Team One saw that opportunity, and this is something that Team One do really well. Keep an eye on it over the next 3 days, and you'll see them do it, and that is those snap decisions. Now's the time to go. Now's the opportunity to get that diffuser down. KDS straight in, bang, down it goes. And it was well played. And I've also got to give a shout out to Levy at the end there. He played that beautifully. Got himself out onto Aqua Balk, and if you notice, there was a couple of things that he did in that plant situation. First of all, E1D scan comes in as the diffuser starts to go down. It's a simple thing, but it's an effective one. It prevents the defenders moving, or if they do, it gives their locations away. It helps you get that diffuser down on the ground. But not only is it about the pings, Des, it's the noise. You start covering up that audio clue that the diffuser is going down as well. So a great timed scan from Levy coming in, but then gets himself out on the Aqua Balk in the post plant, and if you notice, what he was doing was just reining his utility in, just bouncing it off the door frame, just sending the flashes into Aqua, just burnt himself another 5 to 10 seconds before he moves in and makes that final challenge. It was just really nicely played.
For me, it was the conviction on Team One to rotate away from their Sunrise push, which is where things started, and they slowly moved themselves away. Now, I imagine you guys may be able to hear, but there is also a second stream on the go. Let's not forget Rainbow Six Bravo for the B stream.
I love this about the groups.
Honestly,
when we can hear the other stream shouting,
and they can hear us. It's great because we had a SI where we were shouting back and forth. I was like, Fluke, and she was like, hello, and I'm like, oh yeah, it was great. Now, I'm not quite sure Blue will be able to catch us, or Hap, of course, over there currently covering the first game, which I believe is Dark Zero against. Forget what the other game is. I know that Dark Zero are playing because Blue's been bouncing around the walls about an 18, doing well for the last 24 hours. Let's see how round 2 plays out, though. A little bit of a different setup coming out from Sandbox. Still seeing that Kaid sticking in. Why wouldn't you, when both Thatcher and Maverick are banned away, as we covered earlier on. But the nice combo that we've seen a couple of teams use throughout the stage is the Oryx and the Thunderbird. Oryx, of course, taking a bit of damage when he charges through a wall. How do you deal with that? You heal him back up. And who can heal? Well, it's Doc or Thunderbird. And in this case, you're most definitely going to be leaning in towards Thunderbird. Some teams using her more for having those salvation stations, as we call them, rather than the Kona stations, having them on site so you can pull back there after roaming. Others use it out on the roam. A trade out on the roam, mind you. Neskin finds Nova, but Envy's there to back up his boy and bring a kill back. It's a 4 versus 4.
Identical opening kill that we saw in round 1. Neskin onto Nova. Lagonis is in there, Des. He's about to get this down. I don't think that... I'm not sure if they're aware of this going down or not. Sandbox making absolutely no challenge there. He had KDS on the cover, and here's Levy with a little backstab, moving in, finding Shio, and all of a sudden, this is advantage Team One here in round number 2. Lagonis finds himself one onto Static, and that's after the plant as well, coming in and doing everything for his team right now. And the challenge tried from Envy Taylor, but Lagonis with a triple to close it out, leading by example, and Team One close out round 2.
We've seen that in both rounds now. And the thing I'm talking about here when I say that, is the awareness game on either side. Sandbox in several gunfights have had no idea where Team One are coming from. They're being pushed, and they're like, oh, where am I being shot from? Oh no, I'm dead. Team One just... Please pause this work in case you haven't watched CG Sports recently, or in case you're a new viewer just wondering what the bloody Nora Siege actually is all about. Teams get 1 tactical timeout per game, when they can take 60 seconds to have a chat. Coaches can put their mics back down to their face and get back involved and offer some advice to their team, and they're used for various purposes. Sometimes the team just need to sort out an issue they've got that they know they can do themselves. Sometimes a coach will enforce a timeout and say, right, I can see things aren't working here. You know, the IGL can't quite control things, that needs to be reset. Many, many reasons why it can happen, and I can already hear the B stream again going nuts. It's like I can hear the other game going on whilst we're casting as. It's great.
Honestly,
I got no idea what's going on, but I know it's exciting.
It just gives such a buzz to the green stage. You know, we can't overstay that. It's so much fun. And I've got to say, Sweden's been a lot of fun so far, Des. You know,
yeah.
I'm really liking it. I had some Swedish meatballs for breakfast this morning. Of course, here they just call them meatballs, but they were very, very good. They were tasty.
That makes me laugh. You are a massive water snob. Whenever we're out in Paris, you're all about your water. Now, we've had a couple of comments from N8 players. I know that you're pretty pleased so far with the water here.
The quality of the tap water has been very positive.
Very
yeah,
good.
very positive.
I've had a delightful experience.
It's got the A stamp of approval. Yeah.
I don't normally look towards the tap with much excitement, but now I feel pretty glad to turn it on, to be honest with you.
This is it. I've been educating you.
What are we becoming ace in our older age is what it feels like. But hey-oh, let's see how round 3 plays out. The Kaid, nowhere to be seen, has been taken away. Opted not to bring along, so not looking in towards pool entrance, for example, here. However, maybe there's some awareness that there's a roamer or two lurking out towards kitchen. Drone work coming in from Team 1. We spoke about their constant awareness. Now do you get awareness? Through information. That's exactly what they're looking for here to deal with the members of Sandbox. That said, there are a couple holding out towards the hallway, looking to give some support. It's very much a committed extended hold coming out of Sandbox Gaming.
Certainly is. We're 50 seconds in and still no opening kill yet, but Team 1 have got themselves established. Alamai looking to push through into security. Can he find himself the kill? Absolutely not. Harper pops out and manages to secure that one, taking down a big name from T1 and giving Sandbox a little bit of an advantage, Des. And following that tactical timeout, maybe that is exactly what they needed, was just to come in now, steady the ship, get themselves an opening kill, a man advantage, and start to push forward from there. But Leve manages to find Nova, just a little bit unaware of the potential for that angle being held through Blue Bar, but Envy Taylor with a slightly late trade onto Levy there, manages to keep the man advantage for Sandbox here. 4 versus 3 at the halfway mark.
Ooh, shot coming out of Envy as well. Static is dropped, and there's a lot of 1v1s going on in this game. It's been really bizarre how many kind of solo pushes have come out from the side of Team 1. And as it stands, it's Sandbox the one coming out the better with some wonderful shots. I mean, I imagine Alamal ruined that he didn't win that gunfight against Harper, who's down to a slither of HP himself. And although they're not directly covering each other with crossfires, Sandbox, they're never really more than a couple of seconds away from being able to directly support each other. One sat inside a courtyard, one security, one office, gives them a lovely triangle. 2 of them covering themselves up towards site and kitchen. It's just small pockets of playing together that's working out quite nicely. But I do question whether or not Team 1 with a bit of team pushing could have collected a couple of members earlier on without losing any of their own.
This is it. Sandbox can just afford to try and burn the timer here. They can sort of make a, not a half-hearted challenge, but they can make a gentle challenge onto Team 1 and then just drop back. Just let them know you're there and then just drop back. Just keep playing your space, forcing them to play into it, because at the end of the day, Neskin and Lagonis have got 25 seconds to get something moving here. They're working together, shut down by Shio and Harper, and that's going to be the end of the round. And that was well played by Sandbox at the end there, and that tactical timeout certainly seems to have done the job for them.
Yeah, again, I'll touch on it and say for Team 1, I felt they pushed into a couple of solo pushes at different points throughout the round that I was like, this is a little bit strange. Like, why are there not nades being thrown in there? Why are they not pushing them with drones and there's someone else charging back in? Think about Alamau solo pushing into security, for example. So it felt almost like Team 1 took their foot off the gas there, where Sandbox got a lot more confident in holding down the positions they were in. You can't take it away from them, though. It is a round for the Korean team. 2-1 to Team 1, and given that is the offsite as well, maybe, just maybe, we'll see something magic come in as we rotate back into kitchen and service. Kind of weird that you say that the defenders are the ones winning the offsite and the attackers are the ones winning the primary, but that's exactly what we've seen.
Certainly is. We're going to head into round 4 now. It's going to be a kitchen defense once again from Sandbox. We saw this back in round 2 and it was a convincing win for Team 1. Lagonis was able to get in and get the diffuser down after only about 50 seconds. The opportunity was presented and they certainly took it. And even with a man disadvantage, we're able to close it out. Lagonis with a big triple kill at the end of the round. So Sandbox are going to have to do something differently here, and that push came through service entrance last time, and I feel that there wasn't necessarily enough attention paid towards that area, and that's why Team One were able to just sort of stroll in and get that diffuser down. So something that Sandbox need to be aware of. It's not just about covering upstairs, which of course they will want to do, because they know Team One likely will try and play Neskin in there. We know he can be very effective on the sledge. They'll want to open up those verticals, but if the opportunity is presented and there's too much attention paid to the top floor, Team One will no doubt take it again.
I think a good part of it was just a slippage, right? They had two players upstairs that were ready to contest these plants from above and stop it going down, but a small lapse in judgment, a small lapse in attention meant that one went in right under Sandbox's nose, admittedly off the back of a couple of kills for Team 1 too, which really helped get things moving. But it was that direct to sight, forget about the roamers, we're just going to go for the plant that really benefited them here. Lagonis burning out these laser gates with those Hibana X Kairos, of course, able to use 2, 4, or 6 with that gadget. So a bit of simple math for you. She's got 18 pellets to use and can fire 2 at a time. That's 9 rounds of potentially burning through laser gates or opening up walls or whatever else needs to be done. Envy Taylor, he must know. He must know that he's laid down and really wants to go for it. Here he comes to stand up as well, but Lagonis is just better.
Can't lose.
He's on one today, I swear. Him and Levy are having a field day. Alamar gets himself on the scorer as well, with Charles falling down. A 5 versus 3 inside 60 seconds.
Lagonis just having that bit of information there after Envy Taylor stepped out. It just gave him everything he needed to know where the man was. But the reason I say Envy Taylor can't lose that is because Lagonis stood up. He was led prone and he went through that animation of standing up and still managed to make that challenge successfully. So Envy Taylor more than likely kicking himself for that one. Team One find themselves 5 versus 2 here at the halfway mark in a round that you would have to say is done. If Nova exposes himself too much here, he's going to find himself taken down. Levy does manage to make the challenge, but Lagonis is getting that plant down as we speak, just inside the kitchen window. Can Nova make the challenge? Absolutely not. KDS once again, Des. How many times have we seen it now? Covering for Lagonis as the plant goes down. Again, well positioned, well played. KDS finds the kill. The last one comes in. That's going to be another round to Team One. And I think there's going to be a lot of teams looking towards Group B here and thinking that Team One, they look scary once again.
Travis was like, hey, don't forget me with that fist bump. Come on. If we got there in the end, it's, I don't know. The only way I can describe that round was Swing City. Like, look at everything Sandbox were doing, whether it was swinging on lobby, whether it was swinging out Hall of Fame. I don't know. I look at that and I understand it's a limitation of the playstyle, right, of wanting to play this aggressive, but it's almost uninformed aggression. He knew someone would be out there, wasn't quite sure where they were, and you're risking everything by revealing yourself outside the map and almost using it to try and get him to stand up to take the gunfight against you. It's a lot of confidence, and relying on that gun skill is only going to get you so far. And I wish I could turn around to Sandbox and say, hey guys, just rein it in. Let's not swing so much. Let's play these rounds out a little bit slower. Make Team One sweat as we've seen them try to do previously and play off the intel. Like when Alamar got fragged outside of security. It was off the back of some alibi information. I just don't like how they're relying on this swinging and aggression to do, you know, the work for them against one of the strongest teams in the world right now. It's not going to get you far.
That's the reality. And I mean, looking at the group stage that we're in, of course, it's double round robin.
Yep.
So all teams will play each other twice. So it's not all lost with an early defeat. But that to be said, on the flip side of it, you look at somebody like Team One. If you get 2 wins in your first 2 games and you sat on 6 points, you got to be feeling pretty comfortable that you're going to be going through at that stage.
I mean, mega at that point, right? I mean, there's always a chance that crazy things can happen. Look at how nervous we get at the end of every single group stage that we have in EUL and NAL as the points rifle up and down. I mean, Dark Zero are here ahead of TSM on the head-to-head. They both ended on 12 points. It's a great example. It comes down to the wire, and the group stages, I'm sure, will be no different. Round 5 underway. Let's see how it plays out this time round. Now, you would be forgiven for saying, hey, Team One are going to roll this game all the way through. But we know what Sandbox can do. We've seen them tear apart more structured teams by playing quite passively and just playing for C4s and denial. On this map, I think they're being stretched a little bit thin by a team that is more than happy to tango with them from start to finish.
Yeah, I think it's, it's fair to say we would expect to see a little bit more out of Sandbox on the attack. We commented on it coming in, that, the attackers do tend to see a little bit of favour favour here on coastline, and Team 1 is certainly taking full advantage of that at the moment. Now then, the nade comes in, will not find Static, who manages to keep himself down at the bottom of the white stairs. But more importantly, Des, it says that Team 1 know exactly where he is. The challenge comes in from Levy on the Lion. He's going to take half health, but not manage to kill the man. Static escapes and continues being able to defend that main lobby area, whilst Harper manages to find Neskin elsewhere out in the map. That was a kill through Hall of Fame onto the DJ booth, and that was a good start for Sandbox, but ultimately Static just being caught out, and as you say, Des, again, just walking into a line of sight for somebody they had no idea was there.
They've done this all game long as well, just running into these lines of sights and being shot down, but look at the difference in VIP, for example, right? Harper hasn't got Envy there trying to swing out a Hall of Fame. He's just holding the room, the electrified wall that Team 1 currently have no way of getting open, and he's able to play into a small bottleneck. That is a much more conservative way of playing the game that has just netted them a result. And at the same time, you've got Static sprinting around the map, risking himself in 2 or 3 locations, not respecting the cuts that that Team 1 have set up and got themselves into a spot where that's now the advantage in VIP, trading back down to a 4 versus 4.
50 seconds left to go, and the push is coming through. 4 versus 4, as you say, but the big thing for Team 1 here is they're established as they've got themselves inside of Aquarium now. They are ready to try and get that diffuser down when the opportunity presents itself. They're trying to get rid of that bulletproof camera, but looks like an ADS is just going to take out the Gon 6 as it tries to go through and do so. So bulletproof camera for the time being remains in place and feeding information. They've got Alamau on the double window, but he's going to dip off for the time being. Utility continues to rain in, but the smoke canisters for the time being just holding Lagonis at bay. KDS just checking over his shoulder for that luggage swing. Now then, Nova manages to find KDS, but importantly not Lagonis, who comes in and gets himself a kill, and now has an opportunity with 8 seconds to get this diffuser down. They've gone away from default, and that could be a big play, but the ping comes out. MB Taylor can do nothing, Des. He can't find the man from underneath. Alamau shuts down Harper, and once again we've got another beautiful execution from Team 1 as they manage to burst into sight, get the kills, get the diffuser down, and it's all up to MV Taylor now in a 1 versus 3.
I think they thought he was on the other side of that wall, inside of Billiards, but no, he was tucked inside a hookah instead, and that's the bite back they'll find. Envy bites back with at least 1 for himself, and 17 seconds on the clock to get 2 kills and stick the disable. It's likely not going to happen, but this round for me shows some of the beautiful elements of both of these teams. It has been great siege, even down to that trade at the end of the round. Wonderful stuff. Again, Sandbox digging in a little bit deeper. Outside of Static, didn't go too crazy on the roam, just sat down and held power positions. And Team 1, you would say with about 30 seconds to play that they weren't winning this round. They had no control of hookah, no control of VIP, and you think, oh, they've got big window, they've got the aqua push, surely that's not enough, but they walk in, they find critical frags onto key players of Sandbox and turn the tides of the round in their favor. That was a really good round for both teams, in my opinion.
It was unfortunate for Nova. He was playing on the smoke in behind bar. I commented on it at the time. He got the wrong man, and it wasn't through choice. He pops up and he makes his challenge. He kills the man in front of him, KDS, absolutely. But he was just a fraction of a second late, because what had happened, the horse had already bolted. That was the issue. Lagonis was already past that point. He got himself further into sight, so it was then an easy trade for him, and that left the opportunity to get the diffuser down. So if, you know, Nova can pop up and make that challenge half a second sooner, and Lagonis is the man he gets, then there's nobody following him with the diffuser. KDS then maybe has to dip back. Things may well have been a little bit different. But we stand at 4-1 after 5 rounds. Team 1 really laying a marker down now. The other 2 teams in Group B, Dark Zero and Vitality, are currently playing it out on the B stream. Doesn't have absolutely no idea of the score over there at the minute, so we see how that all shakes down when we get to the end of things here. But right now, Team 1, they're looking pretty good to sail to the top of Group B at the minute.
There's always that strong temptation to just shout Hap or Blue at the top of my lungs and ask them what the
What's
score
going
is.
on?
They'd tell us. They'd give us a good shout back, I'm sure. Maybe later on if we're that desperate based on the amount of screaming that we hear, but it has been subdued for a couple of rounds over there. This one, though, is heating up to a fever pitch. Again, that round for me, for my money, was the best we've seen from both teams in terms of equal competition. But Team 1 just showing that even though that crazy, wild LATAM playstyle may have settled a bit in the region, they're still more than capable of being the best gunners in the world. Static has been seen out by the drone. They know that once again he's isolated inside a kitchen, with MVTaylor providing some support coming in from the hallway. They know that to cut off the blood supply going into kitchen, they need to remove the player that's either sat inside of Sunrise to give him cover, or the player that's extended in towards the kitchen hallway. If they can do that, Static could be a dead man walking.
Lagunish using those Rotero drones to start clearing out the utility to force the man away from bar. So that's the deployable shield gone. Neskin established upstairs on the sledge as well, starting to open those hatches and vertical angles. We've got the Malusi for the time being of Static, as you say, just holding on in kitchen, but he's going to be challenged before too long. Alamau just holding the angle. He's stuck here, Des. He cannot move across whilst Alamau is there. Levy finds an opener onto Harper, and that is, you know, we've commented a couple of times from the Sandbox side saying, you know, they've been getting caught out, they've been moving around, not knowing the players are there, but I've got to put it onto the flip side and say Team One are actually watching those angles and setting themselves up fantastically. Their information game is on point here. They know where the players are, they hold the lines of sight, and they just don't allow them the freedom to move.
Well, Evie gets himself back up as well, really going down in the kitchen doorway, not the play on his side there, especially after they'd already lost 2. But back on his feet, a 3 versus 5 ensues. Neskin, the patient snake holding off towards the big window, finds himself a kill after being there for what feels like a lifetime, but strikes with some deadly venom. A 2 versus 5 underway, and for Sandbox, it goes from bad to worse. This one looks to be a win coming the way of Team One. 50 seconds to play with. They're trying to force Nova once again into the angle. He's got the wrong gun out here. He barks from distance with the Titan killer, but that Titan remains standing. Alamau down to a slither of HP, and MVTaylor, the res man, walking with 20 HP left in a 1 versus 4. We know how these rounds tend to conclude out. Ace, it's of course going to be another win for Team One, and I've got to give them so much praise for that beautiful execute onto Static. Some, you know, commendation given to Static for holding still for so long, but they had service entrance, they had kitchen doorway, they had the window. Everything was set up. All they needed was to make him move from behind that wall, and that's exactly what happened from above. When it got opened up, he got cold feet, he ran, and straight away ran into a line from service entrance, from kitchen window. It was just beautiful. Now, against other teams, you might find that you can't do that 2 or 3 times in a single round because they spent 90 seconds doing that. But what an investment it was worth, because MVTaylor swung to play for the trade. Not a great idea, as it turns out, and they got shut down. So if you want to see how LATAM can be coordinated, can compete with the best, and why they're not just that frag-heavy region, look no further than round 6 of day 1, game 1 of the Sweden Major.
The thing is, you know, kitchen can be such a power position when you're attacking into Sunrise and Blue Bar.
Absolutely.
It completely cuts down the rotate back into Sunrise, nobody can move out from behind bar, and it can be a really valuable position, and that's exactly why Static was playing in there. So Team One, absolutely throw men at it. You know, 3 men used to get that kill safely as well. You know, all you've got to do in your mind at home is just picture kitchen as a room and just draw a line from where Alamau was down to the bottom wall, draw one from kitchen entrance, sorry, from kitchen window across to the quad wall, and already, just in your mind's eye, you can see that he's
we need a pen tool, because Medics has just set us up to look at it.
Static's just painted into a corner at that point. As soon as he moves out of that small area at the top of your screen, he's dead, he's done. That is it, it's over. And it was 5-1 to Team One. We're heading to round 7. Could this be the changing of fortunes for Sandbox? They've got the change aside. They certainly needed something, Des. Will attack prove more successful for them?
It's one of those where it goes one of 2 ways, right? Sandbox either completely collapse on the attacking side and haven't got the coordination that Team One did. The patience, I think, is the big thing I could say about this game. Team One have been a lot more patient in every single round. And sure, in 1 or 2 of them, it lost them 1 round. In another, it led them having to clutch up on site and get 2 or 3 massive kills to close the round. But it has worked out for them in 5 rounds, and that cannot be ignored. Sandbox, the ones who look a little bit skittish, I'd wager.
Coming up to the minute mark then, Sandbox trying to get themselves inside of the map. Not quite there yet. KVS is going to continue to play inside that kitchen area, just barricading himself in there, so he's going to be aware of any approach. Can't be challenged none too easily by anybody coming in from service entrance. Now Static, he's got himself inside. He's able to push through into Aquarium. So this is actually good progress for Sandbox. They've got themselves established in Luggage and Aquarium. That's usually the beachhead that we see teams aim for, to try and think think about getting the diffuser down, but still aware of the players underneath. The question is, how aware are they of KDS, who has a Nitro in hand?
It's not just the Nitros I'm worried about, it's the difference in style from both teams, right? Like, we haven't seen Mute and Mozzie be a thing for Sandbox. We saw Kaid a number of times, but Team One are saying, look, deny them the information, make them nervous, make them panic when they can't find out what they need to find out to operate, and see how they do from there. And equally on Sandbox's side, lots of kind of intel gathering, lots of anti-roaming. You've got the Nomad, you've got the Jackal, the Yana for information. You're just seeing the different blend of styles here clash, and that's what I love about big international events, is seeing how teams approach the same problems differently, in some cases creating new problems altogether. Nova's going in for a plant, though, in this 5 versus 5. Surely that C4 that we alluded to earlier on comes out. Did it get shot out? No, it connected on the wrong side of the bomb. They're going to stick the plant and find the entry. Great start coming out for Sandbox. And Team One, it's panic stations. Time to find an answer, boys.
Exactly what Sandbox needed on their first attacking round here, was getting that diffuser down successfully. All they need to do is hold on for about 25 seconds now as the time is ticking away. But Alamo, he goes in, Des. Is he going to have sufficient cover? It's 4 versus 5, 4 versus 4, but there comes the important kill. Harper gets Alamo, Nova, Shiol finish it off. Sandbox get their second round, and it just looks like the attack might be what they need.
That one I'll chalk up to a big plus for Sandbox. Yes, it's a round on the board, but to get a plant down in a 5 versus 5, there's always got to be something that's going wrong. If your reliance is on a single C4 to stop a default going down, there's going to be an issue, as we saw as it descended down into a 5 versus 5 in the post-plant situation. No push coming out of the side of Team One. Rattled and scattering back up towards Cool Vibes, it looked like, as that plant was going down. Well played by Sandbox. Again, for Team One, it's only one round to at least guarantee they get us through to overtime, though. And I don't know, something just tells me we're not going to see change rounds back-to-back for Sandbox here based on how the game has gone so far.
Going to be Blue Bar and Sunrise this time around for round 8. Team One deciding not to go for Hook Billiards again. They're going to move on immediately and just try somewhere different. And that doesn't surprise me. They've got themselves a nice score advantage, but what they don't want to do, Des, is let this one run away from them. They don't want to get stubborn and keep losing the same site and all of a sudden find themselves only 1 or 2 rounds ahead. And if they can get another round locked down quickly, a nice successful defense, it puts them on the match point and it really drives them towards that first big 3-point win in Group B.
Medic, can we take a look at the bomb inside of Sunrise a second? I think there's a jammed drone just inside of it. Oh no, he got up on the roof, I think, instead. So I saw him drive it in and I was like, no way has he just jumped that straight into the jammer, but no, it is on the upstairs. It's just floating through the ceiling. Wonderful. We got a bit of information at least on the upstairs in that case. There's not much they can do because of the jammers that are scattered around, but they at least know what the plan is here. They know where they've got to start. They know where the side of Team One has set up and what it is that's been set up on the way through. I'm always really keen to keep a close eye on that drone counter at the top left corner of your screen to see how fast that intel is whittled down when there are things like a Mute and the Mozzie on board.
30 seconds in, once again, Sandbox just being cautious about getting themselves inside the building. Plenty of drone work going on, making sure it's safe to do so before they look to push in. Last time it was about the minute mark that they got themselves established inside of the map, and they followed it up with an opening kill as well. They're going to be looking for more of the same, I would imagine. This time Shiol is going to be opening up the soft wall into VIP with the shotgun on the Jackal, just using that second.
Oh!
How about that, Des? KDS, he comes in with a big double nitro into VIP. Puts the diffuser down cold on the ground as well, and that is the start that Team One needed to round 8. I said how important this round was for them to get on the board, to get themselves that match point opportunity and to not release the pressure from Sandbox, but Sandbox are fighting back, Des. Envy Taylor's got himself one onto Neskin now. It's 3 versus 4. They've plenty of time here.
Oh, this team as well, they know from the track that is hanging around. It's just a case of what they can find. The thing is, they defend Kitchen themselves when on this side. They know how pivotal it is when they have the Malusi playing there, holding on to the C4. Yet they've just walked straight into it. Maybe a little bit too keen on trying to get vertical control. I don't know. But that is a massive disrupt coming out of KDS. 4 versus 3 as things slow down for just a few seconds. Alamar almost losing his life there on the Echo, but still standing, at least for now. Him and Levy down to a slither of HP. A couple of bullets go flying here, Ace. We could find 2 or 3 bodies on the floor.
potential, importance of that KDS double is not just the manpower, it's the fact that Nova's gone down as well, the only hard breach option. Don't necessarily need the hard breach to this site, but it does make it easier. If you want to get through the office wall, if you want to open up from pool entrance in behind the Sunrise bomb, you want to get that line of sight to force any defender out of there, you need the hard breach to do it, and they're not going to have the option of that. So they're going to have to work in through single doors here, and that could be a little bit of a problem for Sandbox, and it's a problem, Des, that they are heading headlong into with only 20 seconds to go.
Envy's in lobby, one's in office, one's up on hookah balcony. Like, this is so scattered from Sandbox, and I want to know what the plan is. They've basically chosen with 30 seconds to go to completely reset their push. They find one, it's a good kill coming out, but there's still 3 left alive. Alamau finding one back. Plan's got to happen somewhere, but they don't know about Levy off to the side. It's a freebie for him. A trade coming in. Envy finds a 3K, but there's only 3 seconds on the clock. We know that you can't win a 1v2 in that time in most cases. Team 1 moved themselves up to match point. And the clock, Sandbox's worst nightmare in that previous round.
KDS just gave Team 1 everything that they needed there. Double nitro kill to begin with, including the hard breacher going down. It really did just give them the foundation for the round. Sandbox made a good effort of it. They got it back to 3 versus 3, but ultimately it was just too little too late. They didn't have enough of an opportunity to find those kills that they needed.
It was the time for me. I mean, look back in the first half. I forget the round that we saw it, but think back to Team 1. Once they found themselves a kill from Sunrise up towards Cool Vibes, attacking into hookah and billiards, they didn't carry on with their north side push. They rotated everyone out and moved instead towards Big Window and pushing in from Aqua. It was a total strategy change with about 50 seconds on the clock. Sandbox, I feel, dilly-dallied a little bit there about the 60-second mark, weren't quite sure what to do, and thought, you know what, 30 seconds left, let's go and full clear the south side of the map. Not really something you've got enough time to do there, so I would put that down as poor time management on Sandbox's side. Good composure coming out of Team 1, and we touched on just how vital that C4 out of KDS was. Those are the kind of rounds that I feel if you're Sandbox, you look at and write off anyway because of the 2K that comes through from the C4. But as you mentioned, good effort. They gave it a go. We'll see how things progress from here. However, again, you get the feeling that one round, one more pivotal C4, a couple of kills that, you wouldn't otherwise normally see a team getting, and Team 1 win the match.
I'm not going to get carried away just yet.
Yes, you are. You're always carried away from round 1. What are you on about?
It's the first game of the Group B stages, and Team 1, they're looking good. That's, the reality. But we need to...
Oh, no! What did I say literally 20 seconds ago?
I was just going to say, we need to see them challenged by a team that isn't Sandbox right now, because unfortunately, Sandbox have been giving them a few freebies here and there as well, and Nova...
A few freebies? They've given the whole charity box there, Ace. That's the kind of free kill that you want to start around. Your heart breach has gone. There was no contest coming through. It wasn't droned out. That's like... We literally said you can't give that.
It's not ideal.
You're always a man of reason and fair voice. Me?
It's
less so.
It's not ideal. Or you could say it's an absolute nightmare when you could be in what is your final round of the game here. Team 1 6-2 up and looking absolutely dominant. You wouldn't want to bet against them at this point now that they've got that man advantage, and as you quite rightly say, hard breach done. Now then, the one thing that I will say, hard breach, not really essential for this site. They can manage without it quite easily. You wouldn't see any sort of necessarily essential holes being opened up from those Hibana pellets. You'd sometimes get something on the quad wall that would mean you could force somebody out from behind bar, potentially. We've got the Wamai playing in there. May well be an issue for Sandbox, but nothing that they shouldn't be able to work around.
One of those things you'd happily keep if you could. I mean, Nova's now going to be relegated to flank watch duty all round long, whilst the rest of the team get on with focusing on the clear. I just worry that, again, we're halfway through the round and they're only just starting to focus on getting this east side control established. Envy has rotated himself away, and Sandbox do like this very split take across the map, whereas compared to, say, maybe Team 1, there is a sole single focus. You've got one on hookah, you've got two looking down towards luggage and aqua side. You've got Harper doing God knows what on the south side, and one currently set up inside of VIP. It is very scattered. It can work as long as you're confident in winning your gunfights, but we've seen how things have gone, and I mean, crouch walking through a hole you've just opened like that, maybe not the kind of play you're looking for. There's one inside of office, one inside of Sunrise, and Neskin, he waits and he strikes at the right moment. Harper taken down, a bit of lazy drone work on the side of Sandbox, you might wager, even with 9 left on the field. A 5 versus 3, and surely for Team 1, this is where they really take the knockout punch into Sandbox.
It certainly is. I mean, you know, how many times have we seen that in this game, Des? It's something Sandbox are going to have to work on quickly. Their players just running in to the line of sight of somebody from Team One, not even making a challenge and just hitting
We've been here before.
Been far too often. Shio just trying to make any challenge he can from that VIP door. Neskin on the roam. He's going to catch his man here. He sees the Iano. No, can't win out the fight, but it doesn't matter because KDS, out they managed to find one apiece. Neskin ultimately gets it shut down, and that is going to be a flawless finish for Team One as they take a full 3 points here to kick off Group B.
Just very, very comfortable for Team One, and a resumption of form, I would wager, from what we saw back at the Mexico Major. It looked like I don't want to say a war